Hello everyone, and welcome back to another exciting day of music theory. Today we are going to be talking about intervals, and over the coming weeks we're going to get more specific with our intervals, adding some quantifiers besides just first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and octave. So, as a quick review, let's remind ourselves what an interval is. So an interval is the distance between two notes on the staff. To figure out an interval's name, you first count, or to figure out the number for the interval, we start on the bottom note, and then we kind of work our way up to the top note. So that is the same note, so that is going to be a unison or a first. I count the bottom note here, I go up to the next line or space, that is going to be a second. If I go to the next line or space, that is a third, counting the bottom note, 1, 2, 3. Fourth, 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sixth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Seventh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Seventh. Notice how all of the, if we're going from a line to a line or a space to a space, those are where the odd numbers come into play, and that can make it easier to figure out our other intervals because those kind of stack nicely. The 1, 3, 5, and 7 stack nicely on top of each other. The octave is one note to the very next note. I know that this is a C, that's a C. We don't have any accidentals, so that is going to be an octave or an eighth. So you can take a chance to name these intervals right here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And again, hopefully you get to the point where you just look at it, know that that's a seventh. Those are right next to each other. That's a second. That stacks nicely like a snowman. So that is going to be a fifth, third, octave, fifth. Okay, and I can just kind of tell that from the shape of the interval there. Again, kind of thinking line to line, space to space, or line to space, space to line in reverse. So each interval, now that we have the number, we need to add some quantifiers to that so we can get more specific with our intervals. Because as we've talked about, if we think back to our book 1, where we had multiple types of seconds, we had a second like a C to a D, which was a whole step, or a C to a D flat, which is a half step. So now we're going to be kind of talking about the difference between those intervals. So each interval can be labeled major, minor, perfect, augmented, or diminished. To figure this out, we have to know our key signatures really well. So we're going to be getting to the point where we no longer have to use the keyboard in order to describe our intervals, okay? So in the past, whenever we've been doing whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, we've used our keyboard to kind of help us out there. We're going to try and increase our knowledge to where we can just know the interval based on the major scale, okay? So here's the C major scale with the tonic note of C, tonic being what note is do. So if we think of C major, there's no sharps or flats. Let's talk about the intervals that naturally occur in the C major scale. So a C to a C, that's going to be a unison, which has a P in front of it, which stands for perfect. We have 4 perfect intervals. We have a perfect fourth, a perfect fifth, and an octave, okay? Those are perfect intervals. They a unison, fourth or fifth or eighth will never have the quantifier major or minor. Those are reserved for our other intervals, which are the second, the third, the sixth, and the seventh. Notice that a lot of those intervals change whether or not we are in a major or a minor scale. So scale degree 3, 6, and 7 are ones that change whenever we're working in minor keys rather than major keys. And then the second scale degree can also be major or minor. We'll talk about that more. So if I'm thinking about half steps, right here, 0 half steps is a unison. If it's a major second, it's 2 half steps. Major third, 4 half steps. Perfect fourth, 5. Fifth, seventh. Major sixth is 9 half steps. 11 half steps is a major seventh. 12 half steps is a perfect octave, okay? In a major scale, All intervals above do will be major or perfect. So do to re is a major second, do to mi is a major third, do to fa, perfect fourth, do to so, perfect fifth, do to la, or C to A in this case, is a major sixth, major seventh is do to ti, and then do to do obviously is our octave. So in a major scale, all intervals above the tonic note will be major or perfect. Our perfect intervals are unison, fourth, fifth, and octave. Then seconds, thirds, sixths, and sevenths will be either major or minor intervals, but they will never be perfect intervals. So you'll never have a perfect second, a perfect third, a perfect sixth, or seventh. So we talked about our majors. Majors, our perfect intervals will never be major or minor. So we have some abbreviations that we like to use in music to kind of make sure that we don't have to write out a whole word each time. If it is a major interval, it's going to use a capital M. Minor intervals are going to use a lowercase m. And then whenever we write these out, we typically put a little line above the M that is lowercase, just so we can tell the difference, because if you have terrible handwriting like me, your upper and lowercase m does not look very different, so we put that line above it to kind of assist us. Perfect intervals are going to use a P for perfect, A for augmented, which is uppercase, and D for diminished, which is lowercase, okay? The case, again, is very important whether you're using your uppercase or lowercase whenever we're labeling. So in our perfect, or when we're looking at intervals not using the keyboard, we have to use our knowledge of our scales and the knowledge of our key signatures. To find out a major or a perfect interval, you need to know the major key signature of the bottom note. So right here, the bottom note is D. I'm going to think about what notes are naturally sharped or flatted in D major. D is a sharp key signature, so it's going to have F sharp and C sharp. So D to A is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A should be natural in this key signature, and it is, so that's going to be a perfect fifth. Now, right here on this next one, D is the bottom note, so I have 1, 2, 3. I look to my key signature. My F should be sharped because it is sharped in the key signature, so that tells me it is a minor third or a major third. Now, I got a little bit ahead of myself. If I went here and I didn't have that key or that sharp right next to the F, then that would tell me that it is not a major interval because that sharp is not included there. So it would be a minor third, which we'll talk more about next time. I'm getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. So here, E major, E is the bottom note. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That is the seventh. My key signature for E is, excuse me, F, C, G, D. D should be sharped, so that I know that that is a major seventh. F has one flat, which is on B flat, so that is going to be a fourth and a perfect fourth. Octaves are easy. That's a B flat, that's a B flat, that's going to be an octave. These right next to each other, E flat to F. My E flat key signature is B flat, E flat, A flat. Oh, I got ahead of myself. E flat and F. I'm thinking of a different key signature further down the line. So B and E flat naturally occur in E flat major. So F does not need any sharps or flats. So that is going to be a major second. One or two more examples. Major sixth. Let's look at G. G has one sharp, which is F. F sharp. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is our major sixth. And then G flat, that's a lot of accidentals. So let's think about that together. So B, E, A, D, G, C is our key signature there. So B flat, I see should be flattened in that key signature. So that's going to give us a major third. Notice that we're figuring out all of these intervals without the use of the keyboard. We're just using our knowledge of the major scale and our key signatures. So let's do a couple of examples together. So I'm going to write the top note for each interval here. So starting on F. F has one flat, which is on B flat. So I go 1, 2, 3. that is going to be an A natural because A is not flatted in the key signature. If I'm an E flat major, I have a B flat and an E flat. I can tell 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, I counted that wrong. 3, 4, 5 is right there. B should be flatted in the key signature, so I need to add a flat to that B. Let's look at the next one. B major has 5 sharps, F, C, G, D, A. So if I want to go up a major second, I go B to C. C is sharped in the key signature, so that needs to be a sharp. You can continue working on the rest of those. Again, think of the major key signature, then see if that naturally occurs, what note naturally occurs in that scale or in that key signature. If it has an accidental, you need to add that in whenever you're getting major or perfect intervals. Let's do the opposite now. You can take time to do the rest on this page, do those examples on your own. Let's take a look at these intervals. So we have F major. We know that that needs a B flat, so this is going to be a major sixth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This next one is a fourth. Let's think of our D major scale, F sharp and C sharp. So that G should be natural. So that's going to be a perfect fourth because our fourths and fifths are perfect. F major right here, so I need 1 flat. A is natural, so that is going to be a major third. This one, G major, has 1 sharp on F sharp. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th. That's going to be a major 7th. This is going to be a 6th of some type. Let's check our E flat major scale. B flat, E flat, and A flat. So E flat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that is going to be a major 6th. And then this is going to be a 7th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. D major has F sharp and C sharp. So that one is good. That will be a major 7th. Okay, you can finish the last couple on your own. So big takeaways for today. If you are in a major key signature, or if you are looking for intervals that are major or perfect, they will be within the major scale of the bottom note. Okay, so you really have to know your key signature super well. Our options, if it fits within the major scale, are either seconds, thirds, sixth, and sevenths will be major, and then our perfect intervals are unison, fourth, fifth, and octave. Now, if the accidentals don't match, that is where we're going to get next week in our lesson, talking about minor intervals, augmented and diminished intervals. So if they don't lie within that major scale, that's where we're going to use those other quantifiers. But we will save that for next week. On the quiz, you will not be given a keyboard this week. Whenever you're trying to find these specific intervals, you'll have to use your key signatures in order to figure out if the interval is major, or if it is a perfect interval. Okay, have a great night, everyone. We will see you tomorrow for our review time.